the same day when Prime Minister Narendra Modi met the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and raised the Khalistan issue. These visuals have surfaced online. This is the SFJ terrorist Pannun issuing open threats to Prime Minister Modi and Jaishankar on the streets of Vancouver in Canada. Now, a simple question to Justin Trudeau is, does he call this freedom of expression? Also, what is he doing to stop this? Because it looks like Canada too will soon turn into Khalistan due to the free hand given to these elements. Joining us at this point is Ambassador Bashwati Mukherjee, former diplomat. We also have Captain Alok Bansal, international affairs expert, joining us live. Harinder Sikka, Sikh community voice, is also live with us. Sumit Peer, political commentator, also joins the broadcast. Let me bring you in here first, Ambassador Mukherjee. Ambassador Mukherjee, it's ironical that on a day when Justin Trudeau was told in very strict terms by the Indian establishment about the no-nonsense approach we want him to adopt and apply in Canada against these elements. And when Mr. Trudeau claimed that, freedom of expression and freedom to protest is allowed in Canada, but he will act if it gets too extreme, you have here an example of that on ground in Vancouver.
Well, actually, Uday, as far as he is concerned, he has real double standards because he didn't apply freedom of expression and freedom to demonstrate when it came to the Canadian truckers who agitated because he used draconian methods. He declared a state of emergency, he froze their bank accounts, etc. He broke the agitation, quite similar to the way it was done many years ago when Mrs. Gandhi was Prime Minister. He just broke the agitation. So obviously for him, freedom of expression is to be utilized by certain sections of the Canadian population whom he thinks erroneously will always vote for him. And it doesn't matter if they indulge in hate speech, etc., because he doesn't seem to be aware of the damage that it's doing to a very strong and historical bilateral relationship. So these people, these small pocket in a place called Surrey in Vancouver, where actually my own sister stays, they are a minuscule minority, and the rest of the diaspora are extremely upset with their activities because they believe that it is spoiling their relationship with India. So Mr. Trudeau will have to rein them in, because if he doesn't rein them in, they will one day turn against the hand that feeds them. Because right now, funding is coming in from Canada. It's shifted from Pakistan, which is a bankrupt state, to Canada. These kind of activities are being encouraged in Canada by the present Canadian government. Hopefully, the elections will be coming up. He's trailing in the polls. They say the Conservatives will take over. But as long as he is there, unless he reins them in, he has to understand that since there is no sympathy for this movement in India, what will they do? They will turn against him. And then what will happen? And what happens to the Quebec movement? The people in Quebec have been wanting freedom. That is a movement which is historically strong in Canada. They have nothing in common with Anglophone Canada. The people in Quebec, I've been to Quebec. It's completely French, 100% French. So they want independence. So if he behaves in this manner, then we should also say we believe in freedom of expression and freedom to demonstrate. Why don't we encourage some of these Quebec leaders to come here and to demonstrate in front of the Canadian High Commission in Delhi? They can also rip down the Canadian flag. It's no problem. We will just remove the police barricades, let them do what they want. This is the only way to deal with such people, Uday. You have to do with them the way they do to us. That's the only way to make them understand that India is a sovereign state. He cannot play around with us in this manner. He even said yesterday in his press conference, you must have heard him, he said that he doesn't approve of foreign interference. So who's interfering in Canada? We don't approve of foreign interference. We don't want Canada to interfere and send their extremists here to India. He is interfering in India's internal affairs. We are not interested in Canada's internal affairs at all. He is most welcome to do what he likes. Uday.
Yes, let me in fact take that across to Harinder Sikka as well. Harinder Sikka, because the fact is that this is a call for violence. These are extremely disparaging statements being made by Pannun against Prime Minister Modi, against External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. How can this pass off as freedom of speech? This is scandalous. And also, the fact is that Canada should guard against this, of course, for us, but for their own citizens and their own sovereignty as well. Canada, it seems, is going to turn into Khalistan otherwise.
Thank you very much. I'll take a few minutes to explain it to you that how lack of awareness has begun this and how it can be addressed. It was in 1984 that this drama started, when the Golden Temple was ruined, tanks rolled in, and so forth, followed by Rajiv Gandhi's butchering 10,000 odd Sikhs. So the Sikhs were so alienated and disturbed, and they left en masse, and they were accommodated in many parts, and Canada was the biggest, which has largest number of people accommodating the Sikhs. And since then, these people have done very well, and they have this grudge against India. They don't realize it was Indira Gandhi and not BJP or other governments who did this mischief. Now, what is happening is that these people have occupied land in a manner in which, like Brampton, closer to the airport, Toronto, the entire part of the area is under the Sikhs, who anybody coming from Punjab is offered a free accommodation, free education, free this, free that, and they're made members, and so on and so forth. Gurdwaras are filled with not Guru Nanak's photographs, but of Khalistanis. Now, who are Khalistanis? They should be made to understand, even those people who are entering there, they should be made to understand that we Sikhs are Hindus first if we follow Guru Granth Sahib. Just create this awareness. I collected some data, and this is interesting. In Guru Granth Sahib, in page number 1402, it says, Kaval mein Madhu Bain, it sen sagyo kahat ma jasoda jis dhai baat ke jio. You are lotus-eyed with sweet speech, exalted and embellished with millions of companions. Mother Yashoda invited you as Krishna to eat that sweet rice. And it goes on to say that, gazing upon your supremely beautiful form and hearing the musical sounds of your silver bells tinkling, she was intoxicated with delight. Continues further. Death's pen and command are in your hands. Tell me who can erase it. Shiva and Brahma yearn to enshrine your spiritual wisdom in their hearts. You are forever true, the home of excellence, the primal, supreme being, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. And there are plenty more. I'll just quickly read them to you. You are blessed with Lord's name, the supreme mention, and clear understanding. You are formless, infinite Lord, who can compare to you. For the sake of pure-hearted devotee, Prahlad, you took the form of the man-lion and tore apart and destroyed Harnakash. And then it goes on to say, last two ones, you are forever true, the home of excellence, primal supreme, Vaheguru, again Vaheguru. As Krishna, you wear the yellow robes with teeth like jasmine flowers. You dwell with your lovers and your mala around your neck, and you joyfully adorn your head with the crow of peacock feathers. In Guru Granth Sahib, Krishna was defined in the manner which nobody has ever defined or spoken. Why? In Harimandar Sahib, if you speak of these lines, the establishment sacks you. Who's controlling Harimandar Sahib? Badals. Khalistan is a tool in the hand of politicians who, when in power, Khalistanis will not even squeak. Now, these agendas are run just because we are unable to create this awareness. Guru Gobind Singh Ji made Panch Pyaras from 5 different states, including Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, some from Lahore, one from Gujarat, one from Madhya Pradesh, and he made them Sikhs and became Sikh at their hands to fight Mughals. It was Khalistan. In Nanak Shah Fakir, when I made this song, Shabad, sung by Guru Nanak. Khurasan khasmana kiya, Hindustan daraya. He spoke to Guru Nanak, urged Guru Nanak, prayed to the Lord that Babur has attacked and butchered us. Didn't you feel the pain, O Lord? Where did he use the word Khalistan? So you got to nip it in the bud. This artificial, if there is a cancer in the body, you can't be doing marham. You got to operate. Now, it's not Trudeau's fault. He's looking at his political, fortune in somewhere. And politicians do that all the time. Haven't they suffered in India enough? For 35 years, not an FIR was filed against all the criminals and murderers roaming still free, like titlers and what have you. So unfortunately, you're treading on a very dangerous ground when it comes to Sikhs. They are ferocious lot, the fighters meant to fight a cause. That cause in their mind has been tweaked in the wrong manner. That cause has been pushed as if Khalistan is the country they want. Khalis means pure. They don't revolt. 99.9% of the Sikhs in India will not revolt against India, will stand and fight Khalistanis. Ask me, I'm a soldier, I've seen everything, I've dealt with them from close quarters. It is now how to address it in a macro manner. So one is that you got to understand this aspect and address it there. Second, people in Canada are not happy with Sikhs, good Sikhs, are not happy with this Khalistan norm which is going on there. They are insulting Sikhs in India and they are insulting Sikhs across globe. We are unable to create this awareness so that the Prime Minister over there knows that what he is doing. He is putting a fire in his backyard, and that is not going to be accepted. They must know that the Pakis, indirectly or directly, and trained men funded by whoever, definitely Pakis and ISI in the past, and now the new form of whatever money is coming from. Some Sikhs who have done very well in Canada, and they think they are obliged to do so.
Yes, no, you put it very well indeed. Let me, in fact, get in Captain Alok Bansal on that point. Captain Alok Bansal, on these extremist views being put forward by certain Sikhs in Canada, how long before Trudeau finally cracks down and his hypocrisy visible on the day he makes these statements in India? This is what's happening on ground in his home country.
He has rightly brought out some of these Sikhs have been radicalized. Many of them have received fundings from ISI. We have seen Canada over the years has become a stronghold of some of these radicalized Sikhs. And as rightly brought out, majority of the Sikhs in Canada do not support these people. But this minority is extremely vocal. And at times, I have no doubts that they are paid to be visible. And I think they protest at the behest of certain extremist elements as well as certain external powers. Unfortunately, Mr. Trudeau, in the garb of his liberalism, has actually not dealt with them. Now, what has happened in the recent rally where leaders have been threatened, I think it makes a reasonably good cause to arrest them, apprehend them under Canadian laws itself. And I think a time has come for Mr. Trudeau to now start demonstrating what he says. When he comes to India, he makes certain nice noise, but he's still in Delhi. So I hope when he goes back, he cracks down on some of these people, because this is a minuscule minority which needs to be nipped in the bud so that this cancer does not grow further. And as rightly brought out, we have no doubts that majority of the Sikh community globally is patriotic, is with India and supports Indian nation. And I think this concept of so-called Khalistan needs to be nipped in bud. And Mr. Trudeau, because of certain political reasons, certain perceptions that his voters, some of his voters support this cause, has been taking a soft line against these terrorists. And I think a time has come when Mr. Trudeau needs to crack down on it, and the government of India must make it very clear to him that this sort of a nonsense is unacceptable. You cannot threaten our Prime Minister, you cannot threaten our External Affairs Minister openly and brazenly like this in rallies in Vancouver.
Yes, Sumit P, let me quickly bring you in here. Sumit, would these kind of Khalistan rallies qualify as freedom of expression and free speech? I mean, is that its definition? Sumit, it doesn't get more bizarre than that.
Uday, thank you very much for having me on your show. The first point I must say that Mr. Sikka has put it brilliantly. You know, no Sikh, no patriotic Sikh, and all the Sikhs, 99.99999% are patriots. This land is the land of Bhagat Singh. This is of Kuldeep Singh Sekhu. This is of Nirmaljit Singh Sekhu. This is of, Major Chandpuri. This is of Shaitan Singh. This is of so many Sikhs. And recently, we have, patriotic Sikhs like Sikha Sahab who are right here on the panel. So first of all, there is no difference between a Hindu and Sikh. These people are trying to create a divide. They are trying to separate milk from the water. And what Sikha ji has said, he has brilliantly put it. It cannot be put better. So the important thing is here, Uday, because this unity is threatening a lot of people. This unity is being used as a element to crack the India, because remember, there's a K2 desk of ISI, K for Khalistan, K for Kashmir. When Kashmir is getting better, they are activating more and more of these Khalistani forces in the name of Khalistan. Jo Khalsa hai, sir, wo Khalistani to ho hi nahi sakta. No Khalsa can never be a Khalistani, or Khalistani so janam bhi le, wo Khalsa nahi ban sakta. This is also a reality of life, and these all people know. They work on the payrolls of ISI, they are working for ISI, they have business interests with Pakistanis. That is why they are creating this Rakas and Tamasha. As far as the politics of it goes, let me tell them, first of all their propaganda, all their facade cannot move a brick in India. If it would have been, it would have been that by this time. It cannot do anything, Mr. Theodore and you, Mr. Jagmeet Singh. You can keep on trying. You can be born next life, kuch nahi hoga. The important thing is, Uday, this is not goddamn freedom of expression. You are threatening our Prime Minister. You are threatening our External Affairs Minister. Now, let me tell you, if Canadian law does not act against terrorists, then when are you planning to act? What has freedom of expression got to do when you are threatening my Prime Minister? When you are threatening my External Affairs Minister? What is freedom of expression in this? How long can this facade and canard go on in Canada? You cannot befool everybody all the time. Now you are befooling people. You might have these political compulsions, but not at the cost of the dignity and honor of your country. And let me tell you, Mr. Theodore and Mr. Jagmeet Singh, jahan bhi baithe ho na, if you think Hindus and Sikhs will fight, you will be able to create those divisions here. You will fail for next 1,000 years. You don't know, in a Hindu family, when the first child was born, he was made as Sikh. You don't know what did Guru Tegh Bahadur Singh Ji do. You don't know what did Guru Gobind Singh Ji do. Why is Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji called Chadrain? They should know why is he called Chadrain. What is the supreme sacrifice he did? Do you know about the battle of Champur Sahib? Do you know what did five Sahibzade do? Read Sikhism, read the tradition of Sikhism. You will be surprised. And the Jagmeet Singh pretends to be a Sikh. He's not a Sikh. He is Sikho pe dabba hai. And his Theodore is his puppet. If you have so much of sympathy for Khalistan, Canada mein bhaiya itni jagah khali bana do na de Canada ko Khalistan. Charity begins at home. Start from your own country. Demarcate half of the country as Khalistan and make Jagmeet Singh as the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister of Canada. Then they will know you are serious. But if you insult our Prime Minister, if your land is used as to have threats against our Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister, sir, this is no freedom of expression. If the push comes to shove, we can also have a Quebec referendum here. Who stops us from having a Quebec referendum? We can also have a Ministry of Exile here. We can also have these Quebec people, they have a ministry in exile here. They can make a government in exile here and run their agendas. We don't want to go to that level because we have a lot of Indian diaspora there. They are contributors and they're building up. Uday, also on the target is our patriotic Indian diaspora, because they will bring it to a time, they will bring it to a line where the government of India has to retaliate. When they will retaliate, who will pay the brunt? The brunt will be borne by our diaspora, our students. And these Canadians forget, you want Indian money. You want Indian paisa, you want Indian brains, you want Indian prosperity, but you don't like anything about India. You want 60,000 students to go there and pay you millions of dollars as a fees, but you don't want to give them visas. We've discussed that. Now we have various things. We can have tariffs. We can have, we can have restricted imports. We can remit the visas. We can cancel some OIC cards. We can a lot of things at option. And what I request the Minister of External Affairs is, sir, these are handful of Khalistanis. These ringleaders should be identified. Their passports should be revoked. Their OIC card should be cancelled. Their PIO card should be cancelled, and all their properties under UAPA should be attached here. This is the way you send the message to them. Let the trouble reach the home of these Khalistanis and let them get a a flavor of it that Pakistani money or Pakistani patronage will not help. And Uday, I want to ask one question. What was Jambaz Khan, the Consular General of Pakistan, doing with some Sikh Khalistanis in a Gurdwara in Vancouver? What is Canadian intelligence doing? Does Canadian intelligence and Canadian government approve Jambaz Khan meeting Khalistanis openly in Vancouver? Is this what Canadian freedom of speech is all about? Is this what you want to teach us as democracy and shared values? Mr. Trudeau, you are bringing name and shame to your country. This Jagmeet Singh is going to be a Frankenstein. Get rid of him, you will have a political future. Else, kahin shreni ke pappu hote hain, so you don't want to enter that shreni, and it is better you mend your ways, because India will move on. And let me tell you one thing, you and your Jagmeet Singh can keep on dreaming. Ab pehle apna jahaz theek kara lo, kal se kharab pada hai, so you should get your jahaz repaired first. And you and your Jagmeet Singh can keep on dreaming. If you think Hindus and Sikhs will fight, tumhe ye nahi pata, you don't know what goddamn thing. There is no difference between a Hindu and Sikh. Mothers from same mother, one is Hindu, one is Sikh, same maa ke bacche.
Also, please, what Sumit is saying, if you permit, I just wanted to say that Ministry of External Affairs has already taken those actions. They are all on the blacklist. They cannot come to India. Their properties have been attached. And that kind of action, as Sumit is pointing out, is extremely effective. More than that, what is unfortunate is that normally in Gurdwaras, like for instance, I was ambassador in Netherlands, where a lot of Sikhs, as Sikkaji was pointing out, after 84 moved to Netherlands. There are 5 beautiful Gurdwaras in Netherlands where I was ambassador. But they all preach the basic tenets of the Sikh faith based on love, harmony and reconciliation. No, there are no Khalistanis in Netherlands at all.
Correct.
They have been there in 84, but they clearly understand the difference between what happened in 84 and now, which government was there in 84 and now, exactly what Sikkaji said. So if these Sikhs in Netherlands, who are all Dutch citizens, if they can understand, and I used to go to the Amsterdam Gurdwara on a regular basis, almost every alternate week, to have their Kara Prasad, to pray with them, etc. If they can do that, why cannot Mr. Trudeau create an atmosphere by which the Gurdwaras in Canada also preach faith and harmony and love and reconciliation? What is stopping the Canadian government from giving that message? That is what I'm asking. I think Sikkaji wanted to say something.
Yes, Harinder Sikka.
What I'm going to share with you, if it goes to them, if it goes to the new generation and preached, not only in Canada, more importantly in India, the entire world is fighting on 3 aspects: Zar, Zoru, Jaidad. Money, gold, diamonds, whatever, women and earth, Zameen. That's all. Entire world has fought wars after wars. Guru Gobind Singh Ji made Sikhs, and they fought the 4th angle. Sacrifice for others' cause, not for themselves. So when during Wazir Khan's time, the women were kidnapped and taken to, so in the middle of the night, the Sikhs would all launch a guerrilla warfare, save these women and bring them back. In the process, many died. So selfless service was the 4th angle started by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, whose father was Guru Tegh Bahadur. Where was the need for him to say, before Kashmiri Pandits become Muslims, accept Islam, convert me?
Correct.
And he sacrificed him. Where was the Guru Gobind Singh Ji's need, whose original name is Gobind Rai, born as Gobind Rai, became Guru Gobind Singh at the hands of Panch Pyaras, who themselves were Hindus. 3 of them were low caste. At their hands, and said, "Sawa lakh se ek ladaun." Means he fought a war against Mughals for Bharat. Now Khalistanis must be asked, and before Khalistanis, our own politicians in Punjab must be asked, why don't you like this word, Khorasan khasmana kiya, Hindustan daraya? On this song alone, Akal Takht, which after had given me permission along with SGPC, to launch the film, stop the film. Why? Who are these Khalistanis and what kind of control they have on the ultimate seat? And from where Mr. Badal commands. So we need to first clean our own house. The message must go home from home. Our home is not clean. 12,600 villages in Punjab, all of them drugged. Is it possible without political patronage? Not one village which has not lost over 20 youth, multiplied by 12,600. There are villages so that kind of brainwashing. But there's nothing to eat. Oh, become Khalistani, we'll give you something. This has been a huge propaganda during some times, and now it is shifted base to Canada because it doesn't cost a whole lot. You give $100 to somebody who's come in, entered into Canada, and say here is your first residence, and here's your first meal, and here's your first job. However temporary, you've made that man a permanent Khalistani. But these students, if they are taught properly from back home, you will not have that problem. I'm sorry we are not doing that. I'm sorry to say that the message that we are sending across is that, we will address that when that happens, because Punjab doesn't matter so much. It matters. It's a border state. Congress kept it aside. It didn't matter to them because people are angry against. But they brainwashed. They're masters in this art. They brainwashed in such a manner that today, even Sikhs, unpad jo hain, padhe likhe nahi hain, bichare farmers hain. Whatever they get money or whatever, they vote for Congress. Because we are not able to share that message that Guru Nanak talked about Hindustan, that Guru Granth Sahib talked about Krishna. Let this line be spoken in Guru Granth Sahib, or from Guru Granth Sahib to at Hari Mandir Sahib. The Hari Mandir Sahib is not called a Gurudwara. It's called Hari Mandir Sahib. There's a reason behind all this. Why don't we explain this to the people? There will be no scope for Khalistan word in India. Take care of the penny, the rupee will take care of itself. That's a very clear your home, clean your home. Send that message repeatedly, because एक बार राम कहने से राम नहीं मिलता. But वहाँ पर गुरु ग्रंथ साहब में ये भी कहा, जहाँ तहाँ में राम बसा. We have tweaked everything, divided. Guru Granth Sahib, I would like to add a little bit more, because we must focus from there. 5 Sikh Gurus wrote Guru Granth Sahib, along with 12 Pandits, 20 Bhatts, and Sufi saints. So Guru Granth Sahib was India's gift to Punjab, like Rig Veda was Punjab's gift to India. These facts are not known. We just need to. And when I made that, when the attempt was made to create a free for all Nanak Shah Fakir, where Guru Nanak was shown from a Hindu family, what did they do? First they wanted distributor rights. I did not give it. They banned the film. It has crossed 61 million views on various OTT channels. One is making an attempt, but there is more force withholding it. By the way, Nanak Shah Fakir did exceedingly well in Canada, continues to do so. We need to start from home first. That is my idea. Thank you.
Okay, I've run out of time. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. I'll give 30 seconds to Captain Bansal before we end.
I just wanted to say what Commander Harinder Sikka has said is actually the right thing, which needs to be percolated down, because the genesis of this, actually, the ideology of Khalistanis needs to be demolished. And I think this can only be demolished by somebody who has good understanding of scriptures like him. And this needs to be highlighted. I think this attempt to create these differences in foreign lands like Canada needs to be nipped in the bud. And I think Government of India needs to pressurize Prime Minister Trudeau to take actions. And I think films like this, which he has made, must be shown to them. In fact, the Government of India should promote them. And while MEA is taking action to prevent these people from coming, they are being blacklisted. But I think each such rally must be videographed, and every individual participating in it must be identified and action needs to be taken. Because to the best of my knowledge, not everybody is being, only the ringleaders are being identified, because no attempt is being done to videograph the whole rally. This is essential, that we need to videograph the complete rally. Each and every individual participating in such rallies needs to be videographed, and action needs to be taken against them.
All right.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.